Apple's stock price dropped 5% because China. What's really going on at Google's new Alphabet? Is Windows 10 successful? And more. It's Tuesday, August 11th, and this is Crunch Report. Apple stock took a 5% hit today as Wall Street reacted rather badly to news from China that the government is further devaluing the yuan, the Chinese yuan, the measurement of currency, because that means it'll likely increase import costs of devices for Apple in the region. The announcement came from China's central bank that official guidance for the yuan would be reduced 2% to its lowest point in 3 years. And when you're Apple, aka a $700 billion tech giant, 5% is tens of billions in market cap value. It's a lot of money. The yuan news also gives a bit of a boost to Apple competitors, electronic competitors in the region, including Huawei, Xiaomi, and Lenovo, who will benefit from the impact of a stronger dollar on their global sales. China is highly important for Apple. During last month's earnings call, Apple CEO Tim Cook stressed that the country was poised to be Apple's largest market, with business there making up 27% of Apple's global sales. Yesterday, right before we did this show, we learned that Google had created a parent company above itself called Alphabet and named Sundar Pichai as the new Google CEO, and a lot of details were still up in the air. What projects is Google still responsible for? Who's working for Alphabet? Why is any of this happening? TechCrunch's Drew Olenoff and Josh Constein both have great reads today that highlight how much Google is still known as the big search company, even though for years now the company has been building self-driving cars and Google Glass, robots, health tech, all sorts of non-search related things. It was time to make a distinction or risk further confusing the public and confusing investors and losing its own star talent, who could be lured by competitors like Facebook or a small, exciting unicorn startup. Now, a lot of the products under Google's previous core business remain under Sundar Pichai under the new Google: Search, Ads, Android, Google's overall mobile future. Bigger companies like Nest, which Google acquired in January of 2014, will report up to Larry Page, Alphabet's new CEO, without getting lost in the big old Google ecosystem and without having to prove a strong enough tie to Google's still very lucrative ad business to get things done and keep investors happy. Hey, so how well is Windows 10 doing anyway? I'm seeing a lot of commercials for it. Microsoft has promised 1 billion Windows 10 devices in the market in the next 2 to 3 years. That doesn't mean selling 1 billion licenses, though. It just means 1 billion devices using Windows, which is a really good reason that Windows 10 is a free upgrade, at least for consumers. Now, Microsoft has already announced that it has more than 14 million devices running Windows 10 after being in the market for 24 hours. But how many of those devices came from the more than 5 million Windows 10 testers? Not clear. Other indicators of Windows 10 adoption: search traffic, gamer interest, a Google Trends chart for Windows 10 as compared to Windows 8, 8.1, and even Windows 7 shows that Windows 10 has attracted quite a bit of attention. That's a good sign. But what about the enterprise? Microsoft reports that deployment won't even start until the second half of the year in the enterprise market, but it's a very important market, especially if Microsoft expects companies to buy Windows 10 and to develop for Windows 10, and then buy Windows tablets and mobile phones for all of its employees. And then the developers themselves. Microsoft knows it can't really charge developers the tools that they can now get for free or for a lower cost from competing vendors. It needs to get developers generating Windows 10 code so it can make smartphones running Windows 10 more attractive to end users. Story still developing. As anyone living in California might tell you, being in a drought era with declining reserves of water makes people start paying a lot more attention to where the water's going. A new shower head called the Nebia uses 70% less water by creating millions of tinier water droplets with a surface area that is 100 times larger than the drops that normal shower heads produce. Don't even worry about that. It produces a flow of 0.75 gallons per minute as compared to the standard 2.5 gallons per minute under EPA standards. The co-founders are launching the Nebia Shower Head on Kickstarter with an initial price of $299 and plan for direct-to-consumer brands, kind of like how Nest began with thermostats and then moved into smoke detectors. For now, the Nebia isn't connected to any kind of software, but the team thinks there's some long-term possibilities here to build an Internet Things model that could tell consumers how much water and energy they're using. In the future, maybe even build a smart water heater. The 6-person company is testing units at the rather upscale Equinox gym chain and at Google and Apple's campuses, with investors like Tim Cook and Eric Schmidt. Not too shabby. If the production cost comes down enough, the Nebia could even come to developing countries where water is very, very scarce. Last year, Twitter acquired the social data company GNIP, which is finally letting the company do more than offer instant reports using up to 30 days worth of historical tweets for partners who want that data. They want more. And today, through GNIP, Twitter is turning on the full archive. That is 9 years of tweets from anyone at any time. 9 years. GNIP tells TechCrunch that the full archive search API was by far the most requested feature from its customers way back since day one, even though the company also provided social data for Facebook and Tumblr and other companies. People just want that Twitter data. So with this new unlimited access, think about who might use this tool. We're getting close to a big election year. Political candidates could maybe go back to campaigns run in 2008 and 2012 to get a sense of what was upsetting people, what did people like, what was moving the needle, what to not do again. And even before it acquired GNIP, Twitter worked with the company way back in 2010 to make public conversation data available to the US Library of Congress for researchers to read and preserve it for generations to come. And that is the report for today. I'm Sarah Lane. Crunch Report airs Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on TechCrunch.com. A little birdie told me that tomorrow is our 100th episode, so we'll see you tomorrow.